I'm Jenna Minetti.
I'm Johnny Bucknasty.
I'm Andrew Calloway.
My name is Elia Basharan, and I've entered the Flex Zone.
Enter promo code at Stone15 on FlexZoneSubs.com and get 15% off your purchase. Entering the Flex Zone this week, I'll be interviewing an individual that knows all about delivering the knockout blow. My guest has enjoyed the good times and endured the bad, but through it all, he has never given up on winning the game of life. He is a UFC veteran, MMA world champion, author, and CEO of the Combo Hitter. Brad Kohler, you have entered the Flex Zone. How you doing, Brad?
That was a very interesting introduction, Brad. Very nice.
I like to pump everybody up before we kick things off. Speaking of kicking things off, let's discuss how you discovered your love for mixed martial arts. Did it go back to when you were a youth? Did you fight in school? What happened? How did that all transpire?
No, I didn't fight a lot in school. I had a lot of friends. I had a few altercations, but nothing where I had any sworn enemies or anything like that. I got along with most people in my school. I had a very abusive childhood, and I took a lot of punishment, but I never fought back. They didn't take it out on other people kind of thing. I was, more of a quiet kid because of my home situation, but I didn't really like to fight, but I was an aggressive person when it came to sports, like wrestling and football. Wrestling had my short tempers, but I was never really a fighter. Didn't really like to hurt people, although I, end up in wrestling. I was a really good wrestler and did very well in high school in wrestling and football. But no, I didn't have a lot of fights, man. But like I said, I'd come home every night and pretty much was ducking punches and kicks, but that was about it.
You said you had a hot temper in wrestling. I remember back when I was wrestling, too. I think my hot temper got the best of me on many occasions. Was that the case with you? Did you lose a couple of matches and say, I got to tune this down a little bit and be more controlled?
Yeah, it did. And I talk about that in my book as well. And I have a couple books coming out. The newest one that I just released should be released here in a couple months. I have it to the publisher just yesterday. It's about reaching the height of your maturity and losing your cool. And I used to get so frustrated because I couldn't get things to work. And when you lose your cool, you lose your technique, you lose your game. And I didn't learn that till pretty much my senior year when I really mastered that. When I started wrestling, I was 7th grade. My 7th grade year, my 8th grade year, I did not win one match either year. My 9th grade year, I actually made the varsity, got bigger and stronger, and that's what got me through. But I wasn't technically inclined. I only won 2 matches my freshman year. Then sophomore year, okay, junior year better. And then finally I made a decision to stay focused, and I had started learning about goal setting and hitting the daily, monthly targets and having a ritual. It's the self-affirmations that also got me through the day and my Christian faith.
You said you spent some time playing football as well. Did you play football in college or was it just high school?
I was very fast, and I really wanted to be a professional football player. My buddy, Jamie Mueller, and he was about 6'3" in high school, 170 pounds. I was 5'7", 200 pounds my senior year.
I feel your pain at 5'7".
Training and training and training. And I was a 3-time all-conference, 2-time all-state as a running back. And then I am also just a state champion in wrestling. So I was really, really fast. And I wanted to be a professional football player, mostly because people told me I can't. I'm too short. I'm white. Whatever it is, Well, I was a running back, I went to a few colleges. College just wasn't for me. I didn't think I fit in. But I was in Oklahoma, and I was going to go to Oklahoma. And then we were playing football one day, and I already played a year at Findlay College, and I did really well there. I overshadowed their 2-time All-American and 6th-round draft pick. I outran him in every game. His name was Dana Wright from Findlay College.
Okay.
He went to Cincinnati, and I outrushed him every game. And they were keying him. It was a team thing, though. It was one of the things that they were keying him, then I'd get the ball. And, of course, I looked good, but he was a 2-time All-American. Something happened at Findlay, and I wanted to leave. It wasn't anything bad. It was just a mental thing. A girlfriend died, and I just had to leave college kind of thing. And then when I went out to Oklahoma to wrestle, I'm playing pickup football with some friends, and they said, Jesus, where'd you get this speed? I'm like, I bought it. No. So they said, you should try out for football. I said, they're not going to take me, So we're playing a game, and I lost a bet against this one guy. And he says, I tell you what, if someone gets behind you or whatever, I won the bet. Or actually, I lost the bet, is what I should say. I had to go try out at an all-black college It was called Langston University. I had to go there instead of Oklahoma and try out for the football team. So I went there and made the team, and I was there. I was starting running back there.
They call you Token?
They called me Booty Brad because all the girls knew I'd give up the booty.
Flash forwarding a little bit here. How did you encounter combat sports? How did that all come about?
I moved back to Columbus, Ohio, and just wasn't making it, and I was trying out for football. So I came back after a year playing for the minor league football system, which was after the Scabs were there. The Scabs started the minor league football season. Football league, which was also by the NFL. So I was part of one team that was called the Pueblo Crusaders in Pueblo, Colorado. So I played there for a season, did very well. Then the team disbanded and moved to Sacramento, and I was like, I'm not going to go out west. So went back home, was with my brother, and he died 13 years ago, and my older brother. So I met Mark Coleman, who I've known since high school. We were both state champions in high school, and if you asked Mark if he'd have wrestled me back in high school, he just said no. He wouldn't want no part of me back then. I was like the Kevin Randleman at my era. And then, of course, we ended up working with Kevin Randleman as well.
But he was another good one, and he just, what did he pass away 2 years ago? Has it been that long now?
Yeah. I talk to Mark Coleman still almost every day, and we were trained together, and I've been out of it for a while. My mat timing was off, and he helped me get my chubby little body back in shape, and he was already on the 92 Olympic team, and we're getting ready for 96. And I'm like, I set a goal to try out and really try to make it in wrestling again, since football wasn't taking me to the places I wanted to go. But, I still wanted to compete. I like to be an athlete.
Right.
Who doesn't? Especially at that level of competitions, the camaraderie, the traveling, the things you do. It's just a lot of fun. It also is a great excuse not to grow up, right?
Exactly.
So, I'm still trying to wrestle, and I'm working, and Mark and I are training 3 times a day, and we're out jogging one night, and we're actually talking to the Ohio State football team outside this one bar on High Street in Columbus. And we're in tank tops and shorts and running, and it's summertime in Columbus. So we're talking, and it's about 8, 9 o'clock at night. Sun's coming down. Some drunk guy just comes plowing into all of us. And I look short to all these big monsters. Even Mark Coleman was like 6'2". Mm-hmm. These football players from Ohio State were big guys. Anyway, he ends up plowing through these guys and just bams right into me. And of course, me, no, it wasn't short man syndrome. I was just a spunky guy. I said something to the guy, and back and forth, long story short, I was about to attack the guy, and Coleman grabbed me and put me up against the wall. He goes, "Don't, cops are coming." And as the cops are coming over, I'm like, I swear I wasn't going to touch him. They go, "No, you don't understand. We followed that guy, and he's been kicked out of 3 bars, and he's harassed a lot of people. Now, we saw what he did. If you feel the urge to do something about this, we're going to walk this way." And me and Coleman look at each other, and he goes, "Go ahead." And I said, "All right, it's on." So I went after the guy. I ended up knocking the living shit out of him. And Coleman will tell you a funny story. He'll tell you a real funny story, how it happened. I end up, this guy's head, he was laying on the ground, blood coming out of his head, just spewing onto the cement. And the last thing you want in a crowd situation like this is anyone know who the hell you are, right? So Mark Coleman said, Kohler, let's get out of here. Come on. So he's yelling my name. Nothing happened to that, but on the way back, we're driving home, and he's like, "Damn, I got to get in this UFC. That was awesome." I'm like, you didn't fight,
Right.
And so once he got in it, I said, well, then I got to do it too. And he had a much bigger name than I had coming out of the Olympics. Then he actually got introduced to a manager at the Olympic trials and went to Arizona and started training with him. I forget his name, but him and Mark Kerr were training together out there. And then Mark, of course, went to the UFC. He did what he did. I had to go the hard way. I had to go up and start with the little organizations, and
like hook and shoot. Yeah,
which I wouldn't say is little. Jeff Osborne is probably one of the granddaddies of the sport when it comes to promotions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the hook and shoot was my first tournament, and I don't know if my Wikipedia is wrong or not, but that first fight I had with Travis Fulton, that was actually an hour and 10 minutes straight.
Yeah, I thought it was a little bit longer from what I read before.
It was. It was no rounds. It was bare knuckles, headbutts, and it was over an hour long. And this was an 8-man tournament. And all I knew was there's no way I'm quitting because, my ex-wife was telling me I'm going to lose and blah, blah. I was going through a separation divorce thing because I was training, wanting to be an athlete. So I didn't get the support from her that I wanted. So then I said, there's no way I'm going to go home without a paycheck, because winner take all. You don't get a check for second place, right?
Yeah, just get a high five.
So that was my first belt, my first paycheck, my first tournament, and it was a world title. Then had two more tournaments directly right after that I won. My first UFC, I went in undefeated as 11-0 and fought the legendary Trey Teligman. He's a big guy. Most people remember him. He's missing a pec from a car accident when he was young.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'll tell you what a great bunch of guys. Trey Teligman, Guy Metzger. When I went to the UFC, Mark Coleman didn't make it. He ended up passed out at LAX from coming back from Brazil drunk. So he didn't make it to be my corner man. So I ended up with the Chiparelli brothers and Randy Couture and Kevin Jackson. And, you think of those guys in the sport. And then Frank Shamrock and all those guys were very polite to me, and they were real cool. We've all been friends ever since. And my first UFC, and I didn't have a good showing. I went out and I was winning the entire fight. I kept taking Trey down and mounting him and punishing him. And then they kept standing us up because it was the first Japanese UFC. So people over there are very quiet when you compete.
It's like a library.
It is. So that made most of us nervous, like going, oh my God, we're boring these people, So the ref kept standing me back up thinking, oh my God, we got to make some action here. So I kept taking them down and doing the ground and pound thing that I do. And on my third or fourth takedown, coming into the 10-minute mark, Trey sucked it up. I mean, I know he was very tired. He sucked it up and caught me in an arm bar, very deep arm bar, and got the victory. And we still chat. Very good gentleman. I went back to the drawing board, and I talk about my book called Prime. And it's about reaching the prime times of your life. We all talk about being in our prime. Most of us go, I want to get back to my high school weight. Or you think about
it's impossible.
Right. When you think about when you felt the best, when things were the least stressful, when you had footloose and fancy free, the prime of your life, right?
Footloose.
Well, or your weight, or your body, or your prime in love, or your prime in friendship, or prime in popularity, or whatever it is. It's about being in prime. Yeah. And all that goes to is being focused on what you want to do. I had a loss in the UFC. I really wanted to prove that this 5'6", 220-pound guy could be a professional athlete and compete with these big boys. So I really took my training to a whole nother level. I trained with Rich Giacchetti here in Cleveland, a boxing coach of Mike Tyson. I trained with Pat Miletich, Joe Laurinaitis from the Road Warriors. So I was getting boxing, power, jiu-jitsu. Here's my training partners back in those days.
Yeah.
In Miletich's room was Pat Miletich, Jeremy Horn, Jens Pulver, Tim Silva.
I mean, that's
Robbie Lawler, Matt Hughes. And then I had Mark Coleman and Kevin Randleman. And then up here I had Dave Monet and Sean Shirk. So that was my grappling crew. And you can't get worse training with these kind of people, right?
Exactly.
And again, talking about this in my books, you are a product of your environment. If you surround yourself with people that are going to kick your butt all day long, you're going to get tough. If you surround yourself with business people, you're going to get smarter.
Right.
Or marketing or salespeople. You can't
think you're smarter than everybody else and better than everybody else. You need people to help build you up, too, where you're weak.
You've got to be humble. You've got to stay focused. Most importantly, you got to keep your faith. You don't have to be a Jesus freak or a Bible thumper or something like that to have faith. You got to understand there is a higher power, and you want to believe in. People say all the time, "Oh God," or GD, or people. And then the most people that swear and say God is the atheist, and they don't believe in him. But they say it all the time, and you got to have your faith. If you don't, you're missing out. It's like, well, how do you know there's a God? Well, how do you know there's really air you're breathing? You can't see it, but it's there.
Right.
And if you believe in yourself, then you have that willpower. And that's what it comes to. It's like, so I really hunkered down, told Monty Cox, my manager, says, I'm not going to lose. I want a UFC contract. And after that knockout punch, they wouldn't give me a contract.
What, the September 24th one that I'm sure you heard about a million times?
Yeah, they wouldn't give me a contract.
How come?
No, we'll bring it back one more time, maybe two. I'm like,
how the hell?
Because Japan was offering me a contract right then and there for 8 fights plus commercials.
How the hell, with that result, doesn't make any sense?
Well, The UFC back then, they had a little chip. We're being banned in all these states and all these television companies and pay-per-views.
Yeah, I get
And
it.
so we're being banned. And the biggest thing that they were fighting for was control. They weren't going to give ground. And so, like the Boxing Commission, the Athletic Commission were not involved. So that being said, that's why we were losing ground when it comes to pay-per-view. So we didn't have the exposure that they have today because the new company Zuffa, of course, made it regulatory, brought in the Boxing Athletic Commission, and then finally New York crumbled, which is the big one. If you don't have the New York Athletic Commission, then it's really still a battle. So finally they came in. Now you can do fights in New York. It is what it is.
And now, Brad, I guess they wanted to get to a wide stream audience too back then, and maybe having that guy carried out on a stretcher and everything, that was like a black eye that nobody would want to pick up the UFC to broadcast their shows. I mean, that's the only thing I could think of.
Well, both ways of doing it are right. I mean, Dana White really took this whole thing to another level, made it mainstream. But the buys back then, when it was only 3 or 4 months, people were talking about this and waiting and anticipating. And some of the biggest buys in pay-per-view history were the earlier UFCs.
Right. You touched on your book, Prime. Why don't you touch on your other book, too, My Body, My Job? How did that all come about?
As an athlete, we sit there and think, oh, man, we can be athletes forever. That day will never come where I'll have to stop being an athlete.
Right.
And it does come. And I know this may shock you, but us athletes are a bunch of dumb animals, okay? I know you might not believe me on that one, but we get out of perspective when it comes to taking care of our future. We think about the now. It's focus on training, focus on entertaining, focus on this, that, and the other. It's not about the future. And unless you have a good significant other, this, that, they're looking out for you, or a good manager, which are slim and none. I think of NFL, NBA, even Larry Bird's broke. You think of a lot of these players, athletes, what to do while you're an athlete. And so, to me, I started thinking, God, I wish I'd have done this.
Right, prepare for the future.
Somebody would have told me and prepared for the after athletic life. So it's going to be like kind of the holy grail to bring you into the after athletic life. What should you look out for? What should you do? Because everybody thinks you're rich when you're a pro athlete. They don't understand that when you're a football player and just got a $20 million contract, okay, minus 45% in taxes, another 15% of that from lawyers and management, okay? And then you have debt. I'm sure you got debt. So out of a $20 million contract, if you end up with $5 million clear, that's about right. Right. So people have the misconception that you're loaded, and then we have the misconception that we think we can manage that money. And what needs to be done is there's got to be some courses that you got to say, okay, look, I got to take some management classes. I got to learn not to spend. Okay, just because I have it, what should we really invest in? Because if you're not working on the future, then you're going to end up homeless, broke, and looking pretty stupid. And a lot of us have done that. And then some of us can't even get a job because our bodies are so broken up and we've been out of the field for so long. And then we're in some medial used car lot selling cars. So it's about preparing to saying, hey, look, there's a lot of us out there that made this mistake. How do you fix it or prevent it? So that's what that's about.
Doc, I'm not feeling good at all today. I'm lacking endurance, energy, strength, and focus. What do I need to do to get out of this funk? Well, Brad, I have the remedy for you in this 16.4-ounce bottle of FlexZone Preflex. It contains citrulline malate, beta-alanine, agmatine sulfate, and betaine anhydrous to put the pep back in your step. Wow, Doc. Thanks for the Preflex. Oh no, Brad. This is my bottle. You need to head over to FlexZoneSups.com and get your green apple Preflex there. Use promo code STORM15 and you'll get 15% off your purchase. Remember, Brad, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Gee, Doc, I forgot all about that. I'm ordering my Preflex today.
Hi, I'm Kohler Princess Panda. I'm a sports therapist, strength and conditioning coach. I specialize in prehabilitation and rehab of athletes, as well as a personal trainer. And I have entered the Flex Zone.
And you're trying to fix it with the creation of the combo hitter. Now, talk about how that all came about and how that evolved.
Well, the combo hitter, I took it from napkin to the market and started in 2008. I had a couple companies actually already wanted to buy it. One major household company offered me last year quite a bit of money, but I'm not where I really want to be yet. I'm not done. I have 3 products. I have a new one I'm launching around May 1st, May 3rd, right in there. I started fighting again after being sick for a long time, and I came back. I wanted to fight, and I couldn't find focus mitt holders. I love holding focus mitts. I mean, I love hitting focus mitts because it's a great workout.
Right.
Heavy bag's great and everything like that, but man, I mean, I'm a good puncher. I mean, I'm very technical. But when you want to hit something like that hard, even with good technique, you're getting trauma. And man, I tell you, my shoulder, elbows, they would hurt. And I know a lot of guys know what I'm talking about.
And your wrist probably too, huh?
Yeah. You know what? You're going to roll a wrist, and that's it. So I wanted to make something that was very functional. I came out with the heavy hitter first, and then that was still really like a heavy bag that just recoiled and gave you a solid target. And it was a square target, so you didn't have to worry about rolling your wrist. And then I came up with the combo hitter and then the combo kicker. And all of them were very safe, and we're in full production now with all of them. I'm coming out with a brand new surprise. I'm releasing May 3rd in honor of my brother's birthday. We're 11 and a half months apart. So came up with that as my life after fighting, and I'm very committed to it. I talk to my customers if there's any problems. Just when you think you got it, it's always trying to improve it. So I honor my warranties 100%. I make sure that there's not one combo hitter out there. That's the only one I'm pushing right now because that's what my inventory is. I make sure that they're all 100% functional and working, and we've finally have created a perfect product that will last you a long time, that you don't have to worry about looking at some heavy bag with duct tape on it and sitting in the corner of your gym, because every gym has one, because they last you about maybe a good 9 months. Then you got to buy another one. For that kind of price, I want you to get at least 5 years out of the combo hitter, and that's what I've built. Currently looking for possibly an angel investor. We just landed some big box stores. We're going international. It's a little bit much how fast this is growing, and I'm getting orders in that, it's like, there's only one of me. I do everything. Me and my kids actually assemble everything here at my home.
Okay.
The steel's made in China. The rest is assembled here. And I want to bring the whole company here to the U.S. and have it underneath my thumb where you can see inspections, see the quality of the product before it's shipped and stuff like that. And we've been pretty lucky. But now that I have an absolute perfect product, I want to make sure that I have it completely under roof. So I'd like to find me an angel investor or a partner that wants to come in. I'm on 20 different websites, including Rogue Fitness, Forza, Fuji Mats. Forza Sports is huge. Have you ever seen Forza? It's Forza Sports. They're huge. They're international. So I have orders coming in constantly, but this is what I do full time. So it's got to pay for me and my kids and the growth of the company, which is a fine thing. But I have more and more people that want to distribute this worldwide. So I'm looking for someone who's knowledgeable in international distribution, or wants to be a silent partner and let me bring somebody in here that can help me with that. But right now on the websites we're on, we sell 3-to-1s over heavy bags.
Nice.
And last year there was 1 million heavy bags sold. I'm gearing up that we will probably sell 1 million combo hitters in 2019.
And that's great, too. But what obstacles did you have to overcome when you first started the business? There's a lot of people that might be listening that are starting something new and fresh. What might they encounter?
Don't stop. Don't quit. Keep getting help. Talk to your friends that are in those fields of what you're doing of expertise. Try to get people that won't blow smoke up your ass and waste your time. My first prototypes I brought to a gym, and I says, here, hey, this guy gave this to me. He wants me to try this out. Can I put it up here and have you guys try it? They put it up. Try to go, oh my God, can you get more? And I still have the first prototypes, all of them, and they still work, but they weren't
fine-tuned?
Well, they weren't pretty enough for the public. I had duct tape on this pillow that was covered in upholstery that was taped to this rod coming out of this, it was just, oh, what a cool concept. I go, you really like that? I'm like, oh my God, you can duck and weave, uppercut hooks, you can do elbows, spinning back fists, you can kick it. He goes, you know what? There's no trauma. My hands, I can hit this thing without gloves. And all of a sudden, light bulbs are going off. So I said, okay. Then I started having boot camp classes with a lot of people, and they just loved them. So I kept it kind of close-knit friends, trying things out. And then I wasn't working other than training people. So everything I did went into my machines. And let me tell you this too. I built all these and finished things up when I was homeless and living on the street.
That's when you get the most done, when your back's against the wall.
Well, I actually was living in the MMA school I was training at and building my machines while trying to work a part-time job as far as training goes. And I put everything into this, man. And that was 10 years ago when I came up with the idea, and it was just 6 years ago. I mean, a lot's changed in 6 years. Now I have a house, I have a car, I have full custody of my kids. I'm moving forward. Again, if I could help other people that are heading in that direction that I ended up in and prevent that from happening, I mean, I think that would be my biggest achievement, is to do that, is to help people not have that happen. Or if they're in that situation, help them get out of it. I think that's what I would like to do. And I enjoy what I do. Every package I put together, every combo hit that goes out, I put my love into that unit as I'm sending out. That's part of me. And I do. I give it a 100%. And I believe in it. And I love talking to my customers. They just help spread the word. I don't have that money to have that $1 million infomercial budget. If that were the case, this thing would be rocking and rolling. Until that day happens, I like the way it's going. It's going slowly. It's going steady. I'm able to grow and make this thing better and better and better. And now that I got it right, we're building a nice, solid brand. And it just takes time and effort, man. It's kind of like fighting. If you don't live it, if you don't love it, you won't do well.
Yeah. I'd screw around playing video games and do other things before I had this podcast. And once it started growing, all that went to the wayside, man. I love sitting on my computer and getting things done, booking guests, editing the show. You gotta enjoy what you're doing. It makes it that much easier, and you're not gonna succeed if you don't. Real quick too, Brad, I want to touch on the Kickstarter campaign. We haven't talked about that a lot with many of our guests. I want to know your thoughts on Kickstarter. Was it worth it putting it out there, and what would you have done differently?
Well, I did a Kickstarter and a GoFundMe, okay? And I did them about 2 years apart. And on both situations, I'll tell you straight up, and I know this works for a lot of people, but I really wasn't that internet savvy, computer savvy, or social media savvy. So I think that there's a lot to go into those to make them successful. And if you're going to do that, I tell you straight up, I think it's a great idea. I have considered doing that again rather than looking for an angel investor or a partner. It's just now that I understand how to market on social media, how it works. Now I'm connected to people rather than, okay, I got Jim Jones over here putting pictures of some goofy post. I don't have people like that on there. I have people that are positive thinkers, motivated, putting things that I actually would like instead of something that's, it might be funny.
Irrelevant.
But, I'm not. Yeah, it's really not what I'm trying to do with my life right now. If you want to be a good person, good guy, you probably don't want your kids seeing something like that. So back to your question, Brad, it's a great thing. I would set it up like you're setting up a brand new business and have a marketing plan on how you're going to network that to make it successful. Because this is what I have been reconsidering for myself as well. Should I do that again, or should I just keep going where I'm going and find me a potential partner that can come in here and throw in a couple hands and get greasy? I don't know. I'm trying to kick that around. But I think if you did one, and you need your platform to be right on social media across the board. And sometimes I call it politicking. I really don't like being on social media, but it's important.
You have to, though. Got to get that.
You have to like people's posts. You have to keep your name going. You have to.
Got to do videos. The successful ones do them daily. And the thing is, I didn't like getting in front of the camera either. That's why I do these podcasts. But I said, hey, I have to change and get out of my comfort zone and do this because it's vital to my survival if I want to keep doing this and make a living doing it.
And again, I talk about this in my book, Prime, also. If you don't do nothing, what's going to happen?
Nothing's going to happen.
Nothing's going to happen, right?
Zilch.
What happens to people who sit on the couch?
They get fat.
Nothing. I have made more mistakes and have had more situations than success. But I've learned so much because, okay, if you don't put yourself out there, you're never going to get out there,
right. Right.
So if people don't get to know who you are, they're not going to form an opinion of you and not going to like you, and they're not going to follow you because they don't know who you are, okay? So don't be afraid of that. What's the worst that could happen? You get 1 out of 100 people that say, oh, well, you're just like, okay, thank you for your opinion. I value your opinion.
But they still made a comment on your post, right? Whether it's negative or positive. Howard Stern used to go, I love the people that hate my show. They listen to me all the time.
Well, I like that approach. Tried that with a recent project. And I'm going to tell you right now, there's a lot of these people that in my last project, I tell people, I say, look, man, when you throw mud, you lose ground. And could I have done something different to prevent that? Yes, I could have. but I learned from it. Okay, it might go a little slower going positive route, but is that what you want to do? Mm-hmm. Or do you really want to get popular and go, oh, this is really controversial. I want to get everybody out here being controversial so that we can talk about, hey, whatever. Okay, there goes character. There goes integrity.
Right.
So I think you're going to be successful, Brad, in this because you just flat out told me, you're honest with me and said you were on the couch playing video games. Now this is so exciting. And when something excites you,
it flipped the switch. It flipped the switch. And it just happened recently, too. I mean, it just happened recently where I'm like, man, this is awesome.
This is your prime. This is prime. I get it. Now, how to go beyond prime and how do you not burn out? How do you make sure that every day, are you making your list of things before you go to bed? Are you checking them off during the day? Are you planning for the next day? Are you setting a weekly, a monthly chart on who you're going to talk to? I'm going to tell you right now, when I was searching Costco out, it took me 3 months till they finally responded to me. I didn't quit when Rogue wasn't answering my emails. Okay. Right. I mean, hey, man. And then finally I said, listen, I'm Brad Kohler, UFC veteran. Okay. Answer my phones. And guess what? They answer my emails, But they get these things all the time. And you got to use all you got to get ahead. Don't be afraid. Because if you're afraid, you're going to end up curled up in the corner of the cage getting kicked. Stand your ground and move forward. You got this.
Brad, this is our When It Rains, It Pours question of the show. It's brought to you by FlexZone Sups and promo code STORM15. Use the promo code on FlexZoneSups.com and you get 15% off your purchase. It's awesome.
Oh, beautiful.
How did you make it all the way to 47 years old, never touching alcohol? What gave you the urge to finally have a drink?
Well, I've had my moments. There was a couple of times where I've been out and had sips or here, this, that, and the other, but never really indulged in finishing a whole drink or a whole beer. I was, I'd sip it and I'd put it down and finish my conversation. But what kept me from that is not being in environments that had them. I didn't go to bars. I didn't go to these parties and stuff like that. And I certainly didn't indulge in harder drugs. And I tell kids today, even my kid, he's 15 years old and I caught him drinking. I'm like, what are you doing? You're too young, And I used to be so into vitamins and supplements and getting ahead. And it's like every beer you drink takes you back 5 workouts. Every pop takes you back 3. Every cheeseburger from a fast food restaurant takes you back 10 workouts. Wow. To me, that was like going, every time I do something like that, it was taking me backwards. Where I was very goal-set on I wanted to be a professional athlete. And then it was a habit. Then it was a routine. Then it was my life, So then I met a girl who was she corrupted me, and she got me on these awesome Long Island iced teas. And
I had one back in the day too, Brad.
I'm into Grey Goose. I have my Grey Goose martini and a couple nights a week, which I'm cutting back on now because I'm starting this new focus on my new prime, this little video I'm doing.
When you put it like this, Brad, when you have one beer and it sets you back 5 workouts, my mind is blown right now when you put it that way because I'm like, man, I don't even know if I want to have a beer anymore. I want to get my 6-pack back.
Well, think about it. If you're drinking alcohol, it stops the productions of your fat-burning enzymes in your liver. So people wonder why they get fat when they drink. It's because your body stops producing these enzymes to help burn the fat,
Right.
So, and it's the empty calories and stuff like that too. I tell you what, I used to say, I'm going to do this, that, and I've come to realize that if I don't want to just live, I want to have a life. And this is right when I was 47, getting ready to have my last fight at 48. And I said, I want to start experiencing things I didn't experience before. And that whole misunderstanding with that donkey and chicken in Mexico is a misunderstanding. I'm kidding. I want to experience different things in my life. And you know what? Yeah, I enjoy having a drink every now and then now where I didn't before because my goals are different now. It's socially acceptable in business to have a drink with a business associate. Where in athletics, it's like going, let's go have a beer. I'm like going, why?
Right. What the hell?
So that's my philosophy behind that. If you have goal setting when it comes to your body goes, that stuff shouldn't fit into your lifestyle. If you're in business and it's a social thing with a business thing, or after a long, hard day at work and you need to wind down a little bit and shut your brain off, hey, you're at home, no harm, no foul, right?
Right. It's been a pleasure interviewing you here. Man, we went way past the time. I don't even give a damn, Brad. Got any shout outs you want to make before we wrap things up here?
There's so many. One of my greatest friends, Mark Coleman, my high school wrestling coach has been my father, Jim Graylis, my hometown of Fairview Park in Ohio, and my beautiful kids, Christopher, Corey, Carter, Peyton. They're all my support staff right there. And then I have a beautiful girlfriend that I hardly see that is very quiet, and she'd probably kick me if I mentioned her, so I'm not going to mention her. That's it. All the people out there that follow the sport, remember, be positive, because it's tough to put yourself out there. And when you do, you subject yourself to not only the good things, but the bad things. So unless you're out there becoming a target, be good to people.
All right, Flex Zone Fanatics, that wraps up another great episode of ETFZ with Brad Kohler. If you want to follow him on social media, you could do so on Facebook at Combo Hitter. Also his website, combohitter.com, Twitter, Brad Kohler 2, and Instagram at Brad Kohler. You're going to want to follow Flex Zone Supplements at Flex Zone Sups on Instagram and FlexZoneSups.com. Use promo code STORM15 and get 15% off your purchase. Oh yeah! What is your prime? What is the one thing that drives you, that makes you look forward to every day? When Brad was young, athletics was his prime. After retirement from combat sports, he was in search of a new prime and found that in the Combo Hitter. Your prime will allow you to break away from activities that are not necessary in your life. Every day you will work on your prime, talk to others about your prime, and plan accordingly to watch your prime grow to even greater heights than you ever dreamed possible. Is there something missing from your life? I suggest you find your prime. All right, Flex Zone Fanatics, you can follow me on social media at BradStormLaNew on Instagram, BradStormVO on Twitter, Brad Lanew on YouTube, and my business, Voices of the Storm Recording. We're currently on 98 likes, ladies and gentlemen. Once we reach 100 and that 100th person clicks the like button, I will send you a free copy of former guest Chaz Dowdell's book. That's episode 8 of ETFZ, Lewis Wright, free of charge, just to say thank you. And Flex Zone Fanatics, we're all over the place now. We're on Apple Podcasts, we're on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, Spotify, and YouTube. I want you to head over to iTunes and leave a review. If you want to get something off your chest, you want to talk about your business, your band, your relationship, I don't care. Just post it on iTunes under reviews. I'll pick one every week and read it out loud for everyone to hear. And this review comes straight from the Packer Backer. Great interviews. This is an A+++ quality podcast. Love listening to these interviews with host Brad Storm. He has a wide range of guests, which makes the show even better. You will learn something new in every episode, and that you can take to the bank. So to all you listeners out there, I want to thank you for tuning in, and remember to clench the fist and punch every day in the face. And I'll see you the next time we enter the Flex Zone.